This is the story of an idea and how it grew. An idea inspired by the matchless scenic beauty of the Rocky Mountains. The idea was born one day in 1944 in the cab of a diesel-electric locomotive, following the shining rails which paralleled the silvery Colorado River through glorious Glenwood Canyon on the scenic way across America. The unobstructed view from the cab gave a new concept of travel enjoyment. The question was asked, why can't such a view be provided for all travelers? That question was answered, first on a sketch pad, next on a draftsman's table, then experimentally on a Burlington coach. The idea was adopted by the Burlington, Rio Grande, and Western Pacific Railroads in the fall of '45. Next came the General Motors Train of Tomorrow, which captured the fancy of the public in a triumphant nationwide tour. The idea demanded a fuller expression. It had to happen. It has happened. Early in 1949, the Vista Dome California Zephyr went into daily service between the Great Lakes and the Golden Gate. The Vista Dome, culmination of a dream, came home to Glenwood Canyon. The towering cliffs stand proud and strong as the gleaming stainless steel California Zephyr glides smoothly through the wonderland of the West. The California Zephyr, train of today. Eastern terminus of the Vista Dome California Zephyr is the great metropolis of mid-America on the shores of Lake Michigan. Chicago, a young, dynamic city as brisk and breezy as the unfailing wind off the water. From the lakefront, Chicago is one of the most beautiful cities of the modern world. The world's finest trains link Chicago to all the nation. Of them all, most modern, most beautiful, most thrilling to ride is the California Zephyr. Its daily departure is an exciting event, the beginning of an unforgettable travel adventure. The smiling Zephyrette, whose cheerful assistance will help make the trip an outstanding pleasure, is on hand to greet her new friends. The busy bustle of departure is soon at an end. Vestibule doors are closed. And the Vista Dome California Zephyr glides smoothly out of the station. Leaving Chicago, the California Zephyr threads its way through the main serve the transportation needs of the great industrial district, whose factories produce goods for the entire nation. But the route is lined for the California Zephyr. There's a clear track ahead. 2,500 miles of shining rails lead onward to the blue Pacific. Chicago is surrounded by delightful suburbs, satellite cities of beautiful homes. They too are soon left behind, and the train speeds on through the verdant countryside. Passengers waste no time finding places at one of the 5 Vista Domes, in which there are 125 unreserved dome seats, available to coach and sleeping car passengers alike. The special glass is glare resistant, and efficient air conditioning keeps the temperature just right. Sunshine may be enjoyed without discomfort. Best of all is the unobstructed view provided in this unique observation compartment. Up, down, forward or back, and to either side. Through the great farming regions of western Illinois, the California Zephyr rushes smoothly on. The brief hours remaining before dusk give passengers an opportunity to taste the first delights of Vista Dome travel and to look forward to a succession of thrills on the scenic way across America. Many of the passengers who have been exploring the train have discovered the cozy buffet lounge car, a pleasant spot to relax and enjoy refreshment. In both the sip and snack lounge beneath the dome and the colorful forward section, a variety of hot and cold beverages, sandwiches, and other refreshments are dispensed by courteous waiters. Congenial arrangements of built-in lounge seats make this a cheerful rendezvous. Here friends may meet to share the pleasures of a transcontinental trip and appreciate the refinements that make the California Zephyr the quietest, smoothest, easiest riding train ever built. Effortless speed, smooth starts and stops, no jolting or swaying. These are due to the powerful diesel-electric locomotive and the unique unseen construction features of the cars. A new type of spring suspension, hydraulic shock absorbers, roller bearings, electro-pneumatic disc brakes, and many other hidden innovations that all add up to perfect comfort. Old Man River, the mighty Mississippi, father of waters to the red man, bisector of the nation, the great natural boundary of the West. In late afternoon, the California Zephyr glides through the thickly wooded Illinois side of the river and onto the half-mile-long railroad bridge which spans the placid waters. To the passengers, the crossing of the Mississippi evokes thoughts of the days of not so long ago, when the territory west of the river was an unexplored wilderness, known only to the Indian and the buffalo. Today, the crossing marks the first exciting milestone on their journey to the Western Ocean. A brief stop is made at Burlington on the Iowa side of the river. Then the train rolls on again, on to follow the colorful rays of the setting sun. Vista Dome travel during the moonlit evening hours is another new thrill. A succession of red and green signal lights flash by to beckon the traveler onward. The luxurious observation compartment in the gracefully rounded end of the rear car is another popular spot in the evening. Modern fluorescent lighting is soft and glareless, yet ample for reading. Sleeping car accommodations are the ultimate in modern design and comfort. The all-room cars feature attractive bedrooms with toilet and laboratory completely enclosed. Temperature and ventilation are individually regulated, and another convenient control provides a selection of radio and wire-recorded music. Two adjoining bedrooms may be opened together to provide a bedroom suite, the most spacious and luxurious sleeping car room yet devised. Coach passengers, too, in their individually assigned seats, find unexcelled nighttime comfort. Retractable leg rests and reclining chair backs invite restful slumber. California Zephyr bedrooms are easily and quickly converted from comfortable daytime lounging compartments to restful sleeping rooms. The foam rubber cushioned chair folds out of the way. The bed folds down from the back of the settee, and the job is done. For double occupancy, another bed pulls down from the ceiling to form an upper berth. And so to bed, cradled in soft, luxurious comfort. Sleep will come easily, wooed by the gentle motion of the train as the California Zephyr glides through the night. Pleasant dreams of the travel thrills which await on the morrow. Next morning, sleep-refreshed travelers are greeted by a colorful Colorado dawn and catch their first thrilling glimpse of the Rockies. The train seems to put on an extra burst of speed in its haste to reach Mile High Denver, gateway to the wonderland of the West. Before entering the Denver station, the California Zephyr passes through a unique washer, which gives it a thorough scrubbing. Clean, sparkling windows will enhance the thrilling daylight trip through the Colorado Rockies. Denver, capital of Colorado, the mountain state of the Union, commands a breathtaking panorama of a 150-mile stretch of the Front Range of the Rockies, many of whose peaks tower more than 14,000 feet into the sky. Once thought to be an impenetrable barrier, the mountains have yielded to the indomitable spirit of pioneering builders. The railroad west from Denver traverses a scenic region unmatched anywhere on the continent. From Denver's Union Station, the California Zephyr begins its thrill-filled daylight trip through the Rockies. Almost before the train is outside the city limits, it begins to climb through a green and pleasant countryside down to tiny lakes. As the mountain rampart looms ever closer, the powerful diesel locomotive digs in for the long pull. Within the next 50 miles, the California Zephyr will reach an altitude of more than 9,000 feet above the level of the sea. The train makes a sweeping double horseshoe curve to gain elevation, then angles up the face of the range and into a tunnel, first of 44 it will pass through today. Emerging, a magnificent view of the Great Plains to the east spreads out below, stretching away to the far distant horizon. A succession of tunnels bored through solid rock gives an extra thrill to passengers in the 5 Vista domes as the train climbs higher into the mountain. The track follows the upper slopes of a narrow canyon. Then, with breath-catching suddenness, the Continental Divide swings into view. Its lofty peaks invite the traveler onward. Dominating them all is rugged James Peak, through whose mighty base the Moffat Tunnel was completed in 1927 to make possible this spectacular scenic route. Second longest railroad bore in the United States, the Moffat Tunnel is now but a few miles to the west. As the train hurries onward, the Zephyrette uses the train public address system to provide a few facts for her passengers.
Great engineering triumph, built at a cost of nearly $18 million and requiring more than 5 years of construction. The Moffat Tunnel is 6 2/10 miles long, 16 feet wide, and 24 feet high. The tunnel is not on a perfect level, but slopes gently from either entrance to an apex.
On the western side of the Continental Divide, the California Zephyr descends into spacious Middle Park. Passengers of the Vista domes are enthralled by the constant procession of scenic delights. A friendly little lake near Granby contrasts with the broad expanse of Mother Earth in Middle Park, once, many ages ago, the floor of a great inland sea. Near Granby, the railroad meets the headwaters of the Colorado River, which it will follow for more than 200 miles through a succession of spectacular canyons. Rugged Gore Canyon, one of the longest and deepest, is cut through jaggedly broken walls of dark granite, forbidding yet entrancing, and a veritable happy hunting ground for the geologist. Near Orestad, the character of the landscape changes, becomes more restful. Passengers relax a bit after the awesome majesty of the upper canyons. The miles slip pleasantly by as the train follows the gentle curves of Red Canyon. Swelled by the waters of the Eagle River, which joins it at Cerro, the Colorado enters the most beautiful of all its gorges, colorful Glenwood Canyon. Walls of pastel-tinted sandstone, formed by erosive wind and water into grotesque and fanciful shapes, accented by the emerald tones of evergreens, contrast with the incredible blue of the Colorado sky. Here in Glenwood Canyon, the Vista Dome comes home. And here, near the halfway point on its thrilling 2,500-mile journey, the California Zephyr meets its sister train, which left San Francisco yesterday. Diesel horns salute, here in the canyon where the Vista Dome idea was conceived. One of the great advantages of travel by train is the complete freedom to move about. Travel weariness is avoided in the roomy and comfortable coaches on the California Zephyr. Spacious windows of mist-proof, glare-resistant glass give a generous view of the meandering river. 8 18-mile-long Glenwood Canyon ends at the friendly western resort town of Glenwood Springs. On the north bank of the river, the famous Yampa Hot Springs feed the largest warm-water open-air swimming pool in the world. The healing mineral waters provide a consistent natural warmth, which permits swimming even in midwinter. At any season of the year, the pool is a pleasant aquatic playground for young and old. Mount Sopra stands silent in serene majesty as the California Zephyr leaves Glenwood Springs. The narrow upper canyons of the Colorado River open out in the Palisade region into a broad and fertile valley. For mile after mile, the tracks lead through orchard lands, which annually produce luscious Hale and Alberta peaches by the millions of bushels. Before leaving the silvery Colorado, the railroad traverses one more colorful chasm, brilliant Ruby Canyon. Sheer-sided walls of sandstone rim the river's winding course. After crossing into Utah, the river turns southward. The rails lead west, across the rolling Utah desert, a land of purple distances and limitless horizons. No car on the California Zephyr is more justly popular than the diner. Here is modern design at its best. The pleasing interior arrangement and restful decorative treatment provide a congenial atmosphere, inviting fullest enjoyment of the culinary treats prepared by an expert chef and served by an efficient and courteous crew. Whether you're seated in the spacious main dining room or in one of these semi-private dining nooks, excellence of service and friendly hospitality against a background of recorded dinner music add to the pleasure of a perfect meal. Many travelers choose the tempting goodness of a mountain trout, a daily feature on California Zephyr menus. Boning a trout is a tricky job for the uninitiated, but the steward handles it with neatness and dispatch. A golden western sunset signals the end of a perfect day as the train approaches Salt Lake City. Salt Lake City, founded in 1847 by Brigham Young and his dauntless band of Mormon pioneers, who built their promised land in a barren valley and made the desert blossom as the rose. When the Mormons arrived in Salt Lake Valley, their leader signaled the end of their courageous trek with the now famous words, "This is the place." An inspiring memorial now stands on this exact spot at the mouth of Emigration Canyon. The California Zephyr speeds westward to greet the dawn, crossing the great Sierra Nevada through Beckworth Pass into the golden land, California. Here entered throngs of early gold seekers more than a century ago. The train follows the path of pioneers, soon reaching the headwaters of the Feather River, El Rio de las Plumas, so named by a Spanish exploration party in 1820, because of a vast number of wild pigeon feathers found floating on the stream. Most travelers seek the vantage of the Vista domes for the breathtaking 118-mile journey down Feather River Canyon, longest and most picturesque of all Sierra gorges. For countless centuries, the turbulent river has carved this serpentine canyon, digging ever deeper into the earth in its urge to reach the Western Ocean. Verdant nature has healed the scars of erosion by blanketing the hillsides with tall pine and spruce, their straight trunks upstanding in massive columns. In no other way can the grandeur of mountain, forest, and stream be so fully appreciated as from a Vista dome. To maintain an easy grade of only 1% down the slopes of the Sierra, the railroad makes a complete circle at Williams Loop to finally pass under itself. When long freight trains traverse this route, it often happens that the locomotive passes right beneath the caboose, giving the trainman in the cupola an extra thrill. But freight train crews no longer possess the distinction of being the only travelers to enjoy a train-top view. It's available to everyone now in the comfort of a Vista dome. On down the winding Feather River, which, had its discoverers known what the fabled 49ers learned, might better have been called El Rio de Oro, River of Gold. For gold was scooped by the handful from its bed by the early miners, some of whom found incredible fortunes in pay dirt along this restless stream. Though the placers have long since worked out, the river and its canyon today furnish a treasure of travel thrills to California Zephyr passengers. A new scenic delight awaits around every turn. The railroad crosses and recrosses the rushing river, seeking the most favorable slope in the ever-changing canyon. Now a narrow gorge, now broadening out, always thrillingly beautiful in its endless variety. Near Pulga, railroad and highway crisscross the canyon and each other, high above the river. The Feather River leads out onto the level plain of the Sacramento Valley. Mile after mile of rice paddies testify to the semi-tropical fertility of the region. Beneath the Vista Dome in the lounge observation car is another friendly rendezvous where congenial groups gather. Refreshment service is offered at all hours in quiet and restful surroundings. The miles and minutes hurry by as old friends and new make plans for journey's end. The city by the Golden Gate, incomparable San Francisco. A journey on the California Zephyr reaches an unforgettable climax in the brief ferry trip from Oakland Pier across San Francisco Bay, finest natural anchorage in the world, which provides a matchless setting for this fabled metropolis. The ferry passes under the 8-mile-long Bay Bridge, prodigious engineering achievement which matches in immensity the greatest works of man, to dock at the historic old ferry building. Little more than a century ago, the present site of San Francisco was but a barren strip of sand dunes and rocky hills. The modern city, from the twin peaks which rise in its center, present a compact picture of bustling metropolitan activity. But withal, San Francisco is primarily a city of homes which jauntily cling to its hilly slopes. Homes which reflect the friendly and cheerful spirit of the people of San Francisco. Most venerable building in the city is Mission Dolores. The original mission was established by the Anza expedition, founders of the city. Union Square, an attractive oasis of green grass and trees at the center of the city. Beneath the square is a great underground garage. San Franciscans' instinctive love of beauty and gracious living is reflected in the flower stands which dot the streets of the city, presenting an endless pageant of luxurious blossom to delight the senses. Broad and busy Market Street, which bisects the city, is lined with skyscrapers and thronged with traffic. Just off Market Street is the terminus of the Powell Street cable car line. San Francisco's cable cars, reminiscent of the gay 90s, are still very much alive. A seeming anachronism in this day and age, yet San Franciscans refuse to give them up. In truth, the cable cars are particularly well adapted to the city's steep, hilly terrain. The Powell Street line leads up and over Nob Hill, on whose crest the titans of the 80s built their lavish mansions. Best known of all San Francisco's attractions is its famous Chinatown, largest Chinese settlement in the world outside the Orient itself. Here, temples and tea rooms, joss houses and bazaars crowd together in Oriental confusion. The strange sing-song of Cantonese blends queerly with American slang. Typical Chinese cupola roofs top many of its buildings. In the center of the settlement stands Old St. Mary's Church, survivor of the disastrous fire and earthquake of 1906. Fisherman's Wharf, mecca of every visitor with a taste for seafood. Surrounded by restaurants of worldwide fame, the wharf is the embarkation and landing point for the city's many fishermen, and presents a colorful picture as brightly painted fishing boats tug lazily at their moorings. At the foot of crosstown Van Ness Avenue, Aquatic Park overlooks the Rock, grim and gray Alcatraz Island, aloof and forbidding in the bay. Across the Golden Gate, inlet to San Francisco Bay, through which the tides of the Pacific surge and swirl, is the 4,200-foot Golden Gate Suspension Bridge, longest single span in the world. The enormous steel towers from which the bridge is hung rest on concrete piers and rise to the height of a 66-story building. On the ocean side of the peninsula, a noted restaurant and curio shop, the Cliff House, overlooks the broad Pacific and features an offshore view of spray-drenched seal rocks where hundreds of California sea lions sport in the sunshine. Nearby Golden Gate Park, a 4-mile-long paradise, features wonders from all the world. From Holland, a quaint old Dutch windmill stands guard over that stout Norwegian sloop, the Joa, in which Captain Roald Amundsen and his hardy crew of 6 discovered the Northwest Passage from the Atlantic to the Pacific. Boating on the quiet water of the park's lagoons is a popular diversion to laze away a restful afternoon. California rhododendrons, whose giant blossoms provide a spectacular display during the late spring. A final reminder of the bounty and beauty of the favored land by the Golden Gate. Journey's end, 'neath a limitless blue dome of sky. From the Great Lakes to the Golden Gate, across the scenic heart of America, to the golden land of the shores of the blue Pacific, a matchless travel thrill on the Vista Dome, California Zephyr.